I'm actually in Rome today, and I met the Pope, so I'll tell you all about that pretty amazing experience. I actually got to go to the Vatican. I went to an event at St. Peter's Square.
And then Ben has read quite a lot. And when he was writing one of his books a few years ago, he got really into Thomas Aquinas. So this is good.
That's amazing.
He got really into C.S. Lewis. He got really into S.L. And then Lewis, he read a lot of Lewis, Mere Christianity, but lots and lots of Lewis. And we thought, all right, Ben, are we going to get you?
How can it be that everyone is silent about it? Who gave you the right to compliment them, asks the Chofetz Chaim. Who gave you the right to give them a place in the yeshiva university? Who gave you the right to invite them into your synagogue, despite the fact that their day-to-day job is missionizing Jews to abandon the Torah and go to the world of idolatrous Christianity? Who gave you the right? As we warned you years ago of one of the dangerous personalities in the Jewish world and the world at large, who runs the organization Daily Wire, a guy by the name of Ben Shapiro. Many people went against me when I said that he is a problem, even though he claims to be a modern Orthodox Jew who wears his kippah proudly and speaks favorably of Israel. And we brought to light the fact that his organization and colleagues are Christian missionaries, some of which are of the worst type, like Andrew Klavan, that is not only a Jew according to halacha, but is a worst type of Jew on planet Earth because he abandoned Jewry and joined the missionary world, and the top most dangerous Israeli missionaries on planet Earth, a company called One for Israel. Now, if this was not bad enough, many people acknowledge, but more or less ignored, the fact that even though Ben Shapiro claims to be an Orthodox Jew who joined, to my knowledge, his fellow Ephraim Goldberg, goes by Rabbi Ephraim Goldberg. In his community in Boca Raton, Florida, they even had a few podcasts together to get some views. No one thought that it's a problem to honor Ben Shapiro, publicize him, help him get even bigger than what he is, get more popular, ride his wave, if you will. No one thought it's a bad thing to give him more honor, to give him more respect. In fact, they were benefiting from him more than he was benefiting from them. And this whole talk about him being connected to missionaries, listen, what the missionaries do is their business. What Ben does is his business. He's not missionizing. He speaks good about the Torah, even though he says things that are heretical and against the Torah. But that's disregarded too. Well, you fast forward a few years, and it seems like
I went to an event at St. Peter's Square. It's an amazing event. There are tens of thousands of people who gather in St. Peter's Square from all over the world. I'm an Orthodox Jew. Obviously, I don't have a dog in the fight when it comes to internal battles over doctrine in Catholicism, except to the extent that the Catholic Church remains a lodestone for Western civilization, a great spreader of biblical values to humanity. In the same way, there are Protestant churches that do the same. You know, people of God, people of the book, people of the Bible are spread.
But I'm sure that more people are going to disagree again. You see, as things develop in the world of Torah and spirituality, connection to HaShem, it's either you rise closer to HaShem or you fall further from HaShem. There's no neutral. if you connect and partner with the wicked, you're going to fall. Even if you mean well. Even if you say good things. Why? Oy la rasha v'oy l'shcheno. Woe to the wicked, woe to his neighbor, even if his neighbor is righteous. You see, in recent months, the inner feelings and desires of his colleagues have been highlighted just, in a very, very public way, especially since October 7th. Whether it's one of his former colleagues that publicly became in front of the whole world anti-Semitic in every way, shape, or form, and even got fired by Ben because she was expressing anti-Semitism. But her anti-Semitism was also at the same time promoting Christian ideology, the same stuff that's actually said in the New Testament. She wasn't saying things that were the opposite of the New Testament. At least not according to her. According to the colleagues of Ben Shapiro, she was saying things that were bad and we cannot be partners with her. Fine, so you would think, okay, so perhaps this is a good thing. They're trying to not be openly anti-Semitic and perhaps not even go against the Torah. Well, you would think that until another colleague of the Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro, a guy by the name of Michael Knowles, decides to have a podcast video that reached hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people, with, guess who? One of the top people in One for Israel. Yes, the very same missionary, anti-Torah, enemies of a Torah organization that Andrew Klavan also supports and speaks for at times. Andrew Klavan already made a video for One for Israel. That's old news. They want new meat. Who they get? They get another guy. Where are you going to find another guy? Let's get another guy from the same organization, the Daily Wire. Yeah, the same organization that's actually founded by an Orthodox Jew. So they get who? Michael Knowles, who on one hand practices Catholicism, but has partnered up with evangelical Christians, which in reality they're really spiritual enemies, at least according to their own scriptures. But nonetheless, you see that Michael Knowles has the same interest as the Christian missionaries, which is what? To convert Jews to Christianity. Even though many say that Catholics do not missionize, well, apparently Michael Knowles doesn't agree. Just like the other missionaries that Ephraim Goldberg invited to his shul also don't agree. They also want to missionize and bring Jews to Christianity. Even though Ephraim Goldberg doesn't agree, if you look at the day jobs of these missionaries and what they do and what they say, they themselves don't agree with Ephraim Goldberg, but they leave Ephraim Goldberg to himself to say whatever he wants to convince the Keilah that is, in essence, sitting sheep waiting to be slaughtered as more and more people in the community leave Judaism, leave Torah, and really become more inclined to agree with the Christians. Well, if that was the story, it wouldn't be enough until you add one of the newest developments that was brought to my attention, where apparently even Ben Shapiro, the modern Orthodox Jew, apparently he himself is also of the opinion that is more in line with the Christian missionaries than it is with Orthodox Jewry. Because he said to some priest or pastor that he was an interview with, that he thinks that all Christians, he makes him happy to hear that all Christians will praise their man God. And he actually says Jesus and the name that's forbidden to say.
I, as a Jew, have not only no problem with people saying, for example, Christ is king. I think that that's a good thing for Christians to say. I want Christians to do that because I think that for American society, more people need to declare who are Christian that Christ is king and go back to church. And frankly, as a Jew, I'm flattered that you care enough about my soul that you wish me to become one of you. That's a lot better than it has been historically, where people were coming after people like me with a sword and forcing conversion or forcing death. You know, that is all not only fine, that is wonderful for me.
Because he obviously does not know the law, does not know the halakha. They're not supposed to say it, but nonetheless, even if we excuse that, he's happy that Christians are following what the Torah says is idol worship. And if that's not bad enough, Mr. Ben Shapiro says he even is humbled by the fact that the Christian missionaries want him to convert to Christianity because they worry about his soul. If his stupid mouth didn't say these words, I would never make it up, but I'm going to make sure to put the video for you guys to see it, to actually see the donkey speak these words. How can you possibly utter such foolishness? It's mind-boggling. Remove the kippah already and pretend to be some sheikh from Saudi Arabia. At least then we wouldn't have a problem with it, because no one would think you're Jewish and saying such stupid things. But why is he doing it? Why is this happening? Why did that woman go and decide to become openly anti-Semitic even though she doesn't think she's anti-Semitic? Why did Kanye West decide to become openly anti-Semitic even though he doesn't think he's anti-Semitic, even though he has a swastika shirt? Why is all of this happening? You know why it's all happening, Rabotai? Because so long as we praise the wicked, just like Ben Shapiro did,
brighter place. Actually, what the Pope said was quite beautiful, not surprisingly. The new Pope, Pope Leo, I'll have my comments about him personally in a moment, but what he actually had to say, he quoted from the book of John, the story about the pool of Bethesda, which is the story in the book of John where Jesus goes to the pool of Bethesda and there are people who are...
As long as we ignore the wicked's crimes against HaShem, as long as we compliment the wicked, we are empowering them and enabling them, and in fact adding to their army as other people watch the wicked get praised and thereby decide to follow them. In so many words, he became a missionary just like his open missionary friends and colleagues are. No different than One for Israel, no different than Andrew Clavin, no different than Knowles, no different than the rest of the Chaim that were invited to the Boca Raton synagogue, no different than any other heritage. Same thing and even more, because obviously his audience is much bigger. But guess what? People are still going to watch him tomorrow. People are still going to ignore what I'm saying. And I'm not talking about the people that don't watch this, that don't know this. I'm talking about you, that are watching everything that I'm saying right now. You're still going to ignore. And you're still going to support his program. You're still going to watch him. Maybe you're going to make a comment. Maybe you shouldn't have done that. But you're still going to watch it the next day. You're still going to support it. Maybe subscribe. Maybe pay. Maybe this. Why? Because you don't love HaShem. And so long as you don't love HaShem, you will never hate evil. And in fact, you will justify it. You will rationalize it. You will learn to live with it as if it doesn't exist, even though it's right in front of your face. How could it be that everyone is silent about it? How could it be? And if silence was not a crime enough, praising the wicked makes it even worse.